Alright everyone, let's talk about farming, and I wanted to put out a video on a simple way to set up your farm so that it is very similar to mine. And my farm is set up for one simple purpose, and that is to make as much money per day as possible for as little effort as possible. And that is exactly what it does. I generally end up making between 150 to 180 million silver per day from my farm, and it only takes me about 15 to 20 minutes of actual effort. Most of the stuff in farming is literally just waiting around until your farm timers hit zero, waiting every 3 hours or so, and then you go to your farm, you check it, takes 3 minutes or so, and that's it. I do that 5 or 6 times a day, depending on how active I am, and it's just some of the easiest money in the game by far. So this is absolutely something that you're going to want to prioritize. Probably one of the first things that you're going to want to do with your contribution points, and that leads us to the first thing that you're going to need to do this, and that is 100 contribution points. So if you are newer or if you don't have a ton of contribution points, definitely prioritize your farm. It's going to be more important than basically all of the worker nodes. The exception, I guess, would be like the Master Pure Magic nodes, but your first 100 contribution points, not a bad place to spend it would be the farm. Now, if you want to do that, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to an NPC in Heidel, and I'll show you guys his location here. His name is Flaviano. So right here, you can see it even says in the map thing, Strong Fence 10. Now, what you're going to want is you're going to want to take your 100 available contribution. You're going to want to go over to this NPC here, and you're going to want to buy 10 of those strong fences. That's going to be the total of 100 contribution points that you're going to need for farming. Now, there's other fences that are available that are smaller, but you're going to want to go big on this one here just because of how much money and how easy it is. It's easily worth the full 100 contribution points. So once you end up getting your fences, you get your 100 contribution points. There are many places that you can set up your farm, but this video, like I said at the beginning, the main goal is going to be to set up your farm very similar to my farm, just to make as much money as possible in as short of time period as possible. So if you want more detail on all the different areas to set up your farm and other things that you can do with it, more videos coming out soon. Keep an eye out, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. But for now, we're going to keep it simple. And I'll just say that what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go over here to Velia at the location that I'm at right here by Logia Farm. Right here by the crossroads of this road, you can see it splits off right there. This is where not just myself, but a ton of people set up their farm. It is a fantastic location. All you got to do is just drop your fences down. I would recommend putting them in an arrangement like I have right here. You can see that I've got 2 of them set up there. And then I've got, 5 of these rows here, each with 2 for a total of all 10 of my fences. It works out perfectly. You won't have any problem laying down your fences right here. And as you guys can see, there's people there. A lot of people use this location for farming as well, just because of how well it works. So that's where I would go. Drop your fences. And before you get into the kind of stuff that I'm doing on my live stream, you want to actually do something else first. Very important. Don't just immediately start with the mushrooms. You're going to want to get your farming up to artisan first. That's going to be really, really, really important. And this is going to be a little bit of a time commitment. Only a few hours or so, depending on if you have any like life mastery scrolls or any extra experience boosts. But you're going to want to take your farming up to Artisan 1, because Artisan 1 farming is a milestone level in the sense that it is going to allow you to start to get magical seeds. Until Artisan 1, you cannot get magical seeds, and you are absolutely going to want magical seeds for farming. So power level it, and in order to do so, what you're going to want to do is actually not go with mushrooms, or just want to go with basically anything. It doesn't really actually matter, because you're not going to be growing it for the actual crop. What you're actually going to be growing it for is to prune the crops and to kill the pests, because that is going to be your biggest source of experience for farming. So as you level it up, you're just going to want to stay around here. You can hang out in Velia, you can cook, you can, do other stuff, but basically every 5 minutes, guys, every 5 minutes, you're going to want to end up going back to your farm, and that's going to be the tick timer for pests and birds. And it's like the energy timer, every 3 minutes your energy ticks. You can kind of keep track of it and do other stuff if you want to in the meantime. But every 5 minutes, go back to your farm, and whatever crops that you're growing, again, it doesn't matter at this point, up until you get Artisan 1, your main goal is to just level it up so you can collect magical seeds. But go through your farm every 5 minutes and go and kill pests and kill birds or prune, do all that sort of stuff. You'll be able to tell, because when you hover over your crops, it'll be a red bar instead of a yellow one. You'll also get a little pop-up notification. and it generally takes, depending on the amount of experience boost that you have, it generally takes like 4 to 8 hours or so in order to do that, to get you up to Artisan 1. Very importantly as well, you're also going to want to not put workers at your farm until you are Artisan 1. This is very important, but don't do this until you're Artisan 1, because you're going to lose all that source of experience. Workers are invaluable. They're super important, but until you get to the point where you can get magical seeds, you want to keep them off of your farm so that you get as much experience gains as you possibly can from pruning and killing pests yourself. Now, once you do end up planting whatever it is that you're planting, again, it's irrelevant just for that experience. I guess preferably if you want to plant something where you're going to get pests and birds more, that's fine. But once you spend the 4 to 8 hours or so going through and power leveling to Artisan, now you can start the actual mushroom farm because you can get those magical seeds. So at this point, what you're going to want to do is, very importantly, now you're going to want to put workers on your farm. You're going to want 1 worker on each of your 10 fences there. And another little suggestion I have here is pick workers that don't really have a lot of competition in cities where there's other stuff to really put a lot of workers. Like, you can actually send your farm workers from anywhere. They don't have to be connected. You don't have to connect the nodes. They can be sent from anywhere. So like, I've got workers from Trent, Keplon, and Old Wisdom Tree. The cities, it's just whatever you don't really have a lot of use for those workers. So I know every city you get 1 worker lodging slot for free without having to spend any contribution getting more. So take advantage of that in locations where you're not actually using your workers, and send them to your farm. It takes like 10 minutes for your workers to arrive to your farm, but as long as you do a good job of refreshing their stamina, once they get to your farm, they will basically never leave your farm, so you never have to worry about it again. It's fantastic. It's great to not have to connect those nodes. And this is also why, for farming specifically, the only thing that's important for the workers, the only thing, is the amount of maximum stamina that they have. The level is irrelevant. Level 1 is totally fine. The maximum stamina is important, though, because you don't want to run into a situation where you AFK for a little bit and then they run out of stamina, and now they take the 45-minute or so walk back to whatever city they came from. So giants is going to be the priority, and all the cities that do have giants, it's the only thing their giants are really good for, is for your farm because of their maximum stamina. The green ones, make sure you get the ones that have 30 stamina. Some giants that are green have 25, so get the higher stamina ones. And, if you are sending workers from like Grana, Old Wisdom Tree, Foudus, also, they have the higher stamina right there. And that's it. Once you send your workers, once you take care of that, you should never have to worry about killing pests or pruning or any of that sort of stuff after Artisan 1. And just keep your workers fed and you are good to go. Now we begin the mushroom farm. And what you're going to want to do is, I use purple mushrooms. Now I'll put up a little table here that actually shows you guys the grow time. You've got the name of the mushroom on the left side there. And then on the right side in green, very importantly, you have how long it takes to grow the crops with fertilizer. Fertilizer gives you, I believe, a 20% boost to the speed at which you grow stuff at. And you can see that there are a couple of mushrooms that are pretty close. Purple mushrooms, 3 hours, 28 minutes or so. And then you've got, let's see what else. Hump mushrooms are 320. And then you've got some other things that are around that time as well. You've even got one thing that is actually much quicker. The dry main grass is at 2 hours and 58 minutes, but there's a very particular reason why I picked the purple mushrooms, and it is not just the grow time. It's not technically the absolute fastest. There are a couple of things that are faster. However, it also gives you fruits of nature. You can see the second column here, fruits of nature, and it'll tell you all the fruits that you get from whatever crops that you are growing. And fruits of nature are going to by far be the most valuable things. Here on the NA server, they're currently price capped at 138,000 silver. However, they're actually worth more, like 400,000 silver, because if you take the very quick couple of seconds to actually process them through alchemy into either oils, or if you want to gather into spirit perfume elixirs, you're going to be making anywhere from like 400,000 to 800,000 silver from them each. You would never go and just buy these or sell them on the market. People who put pre-orders in for fruits of nature probably hate me even saying this, but you can see that there's 100,000 orders for max price. They're worth a lot more than 138,000. So that's going to be a huge chunk of your money from farming from those fruits of nature. Make sure to extract as much value from them as possible, and yeah, that's what you end up getting from the purple mushrooms. So you can see like another mushroom that a lot of people like to do is like the hump mushrooms, but those don't give you fruits of nature, they give you magic power. It's a decent fruit for sure, but fruit of nature is definitely going to be better. And then the dry mane grass gives you the fruits of enchantment, and that one is not good in comparison to fruits of nature. So even though technically it grows a little bit quicker, this is the reason why I go with purple mushrooms. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to buy the blue seeds for your mushrooms after you get to Artisan 1. So if we go to purple mushroom here, it's going to be the special purple mushroom Haifa. There's going to be plenty of them on the market because a lot of people do this farming strategy. Now, this is the annoying step to farming. You only have to do it once. After you get to Artisan 1, you are going to have to end up buying 100 of these, I believe. Yeah, 100 of them. And put them in your garden, because what you're going to need is you're going to need over time to get 20 of the magical purple mushroom seeds. Now, like I said, you only ever have to do this once, so it's going to probably take you a couple of farming rotations in order to get your 20 seeds. However, when you go through with your blue mushrooms and you breed, anytime you do get a yellow seed like this, you're going to want to plant the yellow seed, because yellow seeds, when you harvest, you are guaranteed to always get one seed back. And I say harvest, I meant breed, by the way. Always breed, not harvest. You're guaranteed to get at least one seed back. So if you pick up a yellow seed, you're going to get it back, and you also have the possibility of getting 2 or 3 of them to expand your seed collection and get to that magical number of 20, because once you have 20 of these yellow seeds, you never have to go back to blue mushrooms seeds ever again, because now every time you go through your farm and you breed, you are going to end up getting a whole bunch of stuff, including 1, 2, or 3 of those seeds, and you will always get enough seeds back in order to replant your garden without going back to blue. So now, speaking of the results here, now that everything is all set up, I think that's everything that you really need to know to get to the point that I'm at with farming. Now we're at the fun part, which is basically just waiting around every 3 hours or so and going to your farm and breeding. Always breed, and replanting your seeds and just repeating this process. Again, it's like 150 to 180 million silver for 15 to 20 minutes of total effort required each day. Most of it's just going to be waiting around. So where does that money come from? Well, here's the stuff that you end up getting from breeding. And at first glance, you might be like, what is this? This is garbage. This isn't 150 to 180 million silver a day. Well, the majority of the money that you end up getting from farming is actually going to come from these items here. These are farming byproducts. You've got the plants, you've got seeds, you've got a couple other ones as well, like this one right here, and I believe there's one more. And the reason why these are very valuable is because what you can actually do is you can go to your processing menu, you can go to simple cooking, and you can combine any 2 of the 5 farming byproducts. It doesn't matter which 2, as long as they're 2 different ones, and you need 20 of each. So 20 and 20 of 2 different farming byproducts, a total of 40, is going to give you stone-tail fodder, which is going to end up being this right here. Now, stone-tail fodder is a tier 9 mount material. You could see that they will always sell on the market basically for 2.5 million. However, they might even be worth more than that if you actually need them for your tier 9 mounts. So if you're going for a T9 mounts, this is the good one too. This is going to give you the Arduant, which is the T9 mount that a lot of people really want. So it is a very desirable, very good tier 9 material that at the minimum, you could always just go and plop them on the market for 2.5 million each. So what you end up getting is these byproducts, and a total of 40 of them, so 20 of any 2, is going to end up giving you either 1, 2, or 3 stone-tail fodder, with the average, of course, being 2. So that means that 40 farming byproducts gives you, on average, 2 stone-tail fodder worth 2.5 million each. So that's 5 billion silver for 40 farming byproducts. Basically, the easy breakdown is these are worth about 125,000 silver each. Possibly more if you actually value stone-tail fodder at more than the maximum price on the market. So they are very, very valuable. And going through and harvesting, you are going to end up getting a lot of byproducts. That's going to be the main thing that you end up getting. But that's not the only thing. You're also going to end up getting those fruits of nature. You can see that I have one right here. And as I mentioned earlier, these are worth a lot more than the current maximum market price that they go for of 138,000. So don't count those as worth 138,000. They are worth way, way more if you process them into oils or spirit perfume elixirs. Right now, they're probably worth about 400,000 each, but obviously this number is going to depend on the economy and the market on your server. And there's also something else that can happen. We haven't got one right now. We'll see if going through these this rotation of farming, if we can actually end up getting it. But you can get moles to occasionally appear as well. And when you kill a mole, it will end up giving you a tier 9 material for 2.5 million, as well as some blackstones and some other stuff as well. Farming byproducts and whatnot. So mole kills are actually worth quite a bit. I usually end up seeing an average of about 1 mole every 20 magical seeds that I harvest. Sometimes more, sometimes less. You also end up getting those yellow seeds as well. These right here. Those you can use to, you can either vendor them, which I wouldn't recommend, or you can end up using them to accelerate the amount of products that you get from other seeds. Don't do this, by the way. This is a mistake, but good for the video, is harvesting. You do not want to harvest. You want to breed all the time, always. You're not doing this to get the mushrooms and selling the mushrooms. You're doing this specifically just to breed, get the byproducts, and get the seeds back so that you can always go back through and you're self-sustaining your farming cycle. You should never go below 20 seeds. You always get one back every single time that you go through. You're also going to end up getting extra seeds. That's pretty much the last thing that you end up getting from this is, remember, you get 1 through 3 seeds back every time you go through. So you're going to need 20 seeds to go back through and replant your garden. However, all the extra seeds that you have, what you can do is you can just simply go to the vendor and you can sell them, and you can see that they actually do indeed vendor for a decent amount, 247,000 each. So that's quite a bit. That's an extra couple million silver that you're just going to get in vendor items from each farming cycle. So, you know, on the live stream, twitch.tv/salt, we've done many farming rotations, many. I, you know, check my farm usually 5 to 6 times a day. I went through, I averaged it all out, and when you include it all, you're looking at an average of about 25 to 30 million silver worth of all the stuff that you get from doing this farming strategy every single rotation, which takes about 3 hours. So, you know, depending on how active you are, worst case scenario, you check your farm 4 times a day. You know, that's still 130 million or so silver per day with 10-15 minutes worth of effort. Now me, I'm pretty hardcore. I've been playing a lot. I'll check my farm sometimes even 6 times a day, which is, you know, that's a lot. That's a lot of playing the game. But if I check 6 times a day, you know, that's 150 to 180 million silver. And all I have to do is every, 3 hours, go back to my farm and check it, harvest, or breed, sorry, not harvest, breed, and then that's it. So all you do is go back through now and replant your garden. I'm actually not going to go through and do this on all of my plants. I'll do that off of the video. However, I wanted to do this to do one last point, which is make sure that you guys do keep your plants fertilized though. Like right there, you can see that I'm out of fertilizer because it is the start of my day. So what you're going to want to do is just go to the market and buy some fertilizer. It doesn't really matter which one. Obviously, if you can get the best one, it saves you a little bit of time. But all the fertilizers accomplish the same goal. You just have to use more of the worst ones than the better ones. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take out some fertilizer. And we're going to go, the way that you fertilize it is you go to like a square of 4. So you should only have to do this 3 times total with your farm set up the way that it is. You go to like the middle right here, you press the fertilizer, and what's this going to do? You can see that it filled it all the way up to there because that's the best fertilizer, and that's going to lower the time that your plants grow by like 20%. So you can see estimated time, 2 hours, 45 minutes. Every 3 hours or so, you go back, you check your farm, you repeat this process, and you're looking at a very good, easy chunk of silver each day. So anyway, I threw a ton of info in this video, guys. It's almost 20 minutes. I'm going to leave it here. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe for more content coming soon. And until next time, everyone, have a great day, everyone.